Welcome back to the channel of Truth, Trust and Transparency. Today, I wanted to run you through the property developer blueprint, which will allow you to make $2 million in about 3 years of developing, and how I think it is the accelerated investing method. Obviously, it is active. Obviously, there is more risk. Obviously, there is more money. Obviously, there is more capital required. Obviously, there is more expertise required. But the upside to all of that is that there's obviously more returns. I have personally transitioned my portfolio from passive resi investing to active development. This is why I believe it is such a strong and important skill set to have, and just how quickly you can see after 3 or 4.5 years, you can be working on and working to numbers that you would have never have seen in your resi portfolio. In terms of project sizes, and obviously this is just a scenario, so project sizes will vary. However, as a developer, anything that will cost me 3 to 4 million in costs, I look for a 20% plus return on. Some of the smaller scale projects, you can get a little bit better return, but for these type of projects, I'm talking townhouses, additional dwellings, duplexes, those sorts of things, where you can get about a 750 profit. You pay tax out of that because it is in a company structure or trust and company structure. 25% tax, bringing it down to a net profit of about 500 grand to play with. Now, obviously you can't start in development with zero money down, and the money it would take in the time it takes you to save up for the money required to start in development, you'll be there till you're 90 years old. So you can't really save up. If I was to telling you need, 500 grand in cash, for you to save that money is going to take a lot of time. So the way to get to this point here, to even start, I like the sweet spot of around 500 grand in cash or serviceable / usable equity. The reason I like that, and as I've said on this platform before, is that when you go, you can definitely get into development deals and small scale deals for less, but you might be running the same time frame for half the margin, or you can do a 12 or 18 month project, be it a small subdivision, and your return might only be 5 figures. Or if you are doing a building construction project and your margins are razor thin, then you do risk one mistake or missing one thing, one sewer diversion, and you're pretty much wiping out a lot of your profits. I know with this and the size of the project that you can get with these sorts of margins, you have room to move around, there being issues that pop up, variations, those kinds of things. So you're starting at about 500 grand in cash and equity. Now, this is what you're doing. You're putting that cash into the first project. You're looking for a return on your investment, not on cost of your investment of 500 grand. The difference is your costs, construction is classed as a cost. However, I don't have to cover construction in this particular money down scenario. So for this particular deal, project number 1, 500 grand cash in. So that would be my initial deposit for the site, my soft costs, and then my LVR stacking up at the back end to get that loan for the construction. That's probably a video in itself, which I will cover. So bear with me if that doesn't make any sense to you. However, after that first project, 18 months, that's enough time for very small scale DA, CDC, you could probably do quicker. However, because the money I put into the project is classed as a cost, I get it back tax-free, that 500 grand sitting in my little hot hand. Then obviously I make more than the 500 grand, I pay my tax. It's not in my personal name. I don't want to pay 45% tax, so it's probably in a company structure, SPV, likewise, any of those. After I do those two, I then use the first 500 grand cash for the next property. And the profit that I've made, I put it into the third project. So now, after 1.5 years, 18 months, I then start projects 2 and 3. They have a similar time frame, and then after another 18 months, when they are complete, I then have finished 3 development projects. After 1.5 years, I then am starting projects 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, here's the beauty of it. So after I've finished, after 3 years' time, and I've finished projects 2 and 3, I then have both my $500,000 back, and then my 500 grand of profit. So I'm sitting on $2 million worth of cash and equity after 3 years already. There's your $2 million within 3 years. The best part of this is because you've got those large chunks of equity. This is what I'm saying. This is why development is so powerful. We split it again, nothing crazy. Split it into this 500 down here, this 500 in here. Projects 4, 5, same with project 3, we split that up 6 to 7. Now again, you're gonna need another 18 months to get to this bottom line project, but that within 4.5 years, when I finish those projects, I've now got $4 million. The beauty of this is I can say, okay, I'm gonna take off the table $2 million. I'm gonna take both the profits from projects 5 and 6 and the money I put in, and I'm gonna invest it in a commercial warehouse. Now, here's where the magic comes into it. After these projects, it's cost me 500 return. I've got $1 million there and I've got $2 million there. I could go out and I could buy a $2 million commercial property in cash, or I could probably buy 2. All right, projects 5 and 6, agree with me here. So here, let's see how we got there. I spent 500 grand and I've made 500 grand profit. So I get my 500 grand back and my 500 grand profit. I put that into 2 more projects, which is projects 6 and 7. I get both my 500 grands back and the extra 500 grands in profit from 2. So I've got $1 million here and $1 million there. That means I've got $2 million total. The $2 million, you can split it however you want across 2 commercials, 1 commercial. The yield and the numbers are very similar, but this is what I do. If I buy 2 $2 million commercials, right? 50% LVR, I put $1 million deposit on a $2 million commercial, and on the second $2 million, I put $1 million. I've used up that $2 million. 6.5% yield, Scotty O'Neill from Rethink probably agrees with me. That's reasonable at that price point. They're going to be generating 65 to 75 grand per year in passive income. So already there, I've got 120 to 150K just from that deal there. Now that's not even the best part. That's ticking over. I've still got projects, boom, 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 boom. 4 projects on the run. This is why it's so powerful. 4.5 year time frame. 1, 2, 3, 3 sets of projects. Now I've got projects 8, 9, 10, 11 that I can be starting. And how am I getting there? I'm pulling the money from projects 4 and 5. I'm splitting the 500 into project 8. This project here, project 9 is getting the $500 in profit. Project 5, 500. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, it's 4 projects, it's a lot of money. Okay, then double down. Double down. Use the $1 million here, put it into 1 project. Use $1 million here, put it into 2 projects. That margin is still the margin of profit is still the same. The project is just more expensive and you have less headaches. Now you've got 2 projects, for example, here. I'm making 1, 2, 3, I've got $4 million. Now, after these projects finish, in the 6th year of developing, you've got $1, 2, 3, $4 million in cash, and you've got these properties here pumping out $150,000 in passive income. That's in 6 years. Most property and real estate investing plans that I'm doing at the moment with people, you're getting to that passive income in the 10, 15, 20 year, 25 years, sometimes even 30 years, depending how long we leave it. This is a scenario where quite quickly, if you have the money, and obviously you need to get to here and this point, so this could take you some years. But once you do, you start in resi, develop the cash base, the equity base, then you can leapfrog into commercial. Then you can leapfrog into things like this. Nothing here as a developer I'm very concerned about. You're going to come to me and say, oh, you have to find 4 sites. No problems at all. If you can get me the capital, I can find you 4 sites tomorrow. 4 sites is not the issue, it's the capital. But as you can see, roll it into the next, split, roll, split, roll. That's how a lot of the developers that I know that have built multi-million dollar property portfolios have done it. They've rolled it again and again and again. They've doubled up, doubled up, doubled up, doubled up. Even Dave Gray said it in a podcast on Everything Property the other week. Double up, double up, double up. You don't even have to take money off the table. Now imagine you didn't even take the money off the table for that commercial deal. You would have went from 4 projects into 8. 8's obviously a headache. So you can keep it at 4 per year. You can keep it at 2 per year. Then you can increase the costs. Then you can start to park money in commercial. Now, So we start here, year 0, right? After 1.5 years, I'm here. After 1.5 years, this project. Then I start these projects. After 1.5 years, then I'm here. Then after 1.5 years, then I'm here. Then after 1.5 years, I'm finished. I've got $4 million. Let's do quick maths. 4 million. If you didn't want to do any more development, you said it was too risky, you said I'm out of the game, whatever. $4 million, let's put down a 50% deposit on an $8 million commercial property. Now, the $8 million commercial property, what's it going to yield? Say 6%, Scotty? Yep. 6% yield. $8 million property, 6% yields 6 8s of 48, 480 grand in rent. You're pulling in. Now your debt is 4 mil. 4 mil of debt. 4 mil of debt's going to cost you at 6%, 240. Yeah, 240 grand. My difference between those is 240. 240 grand passive income after you've looked over expenses. So 6 years, I've built 240 plus 150, pretty much 400 grand in passive income. And how many properties do we own? My friends, 2. One commercial here, that's a big sucker, and one down here. 6 years, property development, all you've done 11 projects, you've bought one commercial here, you've bought one commercial to cash out. Obviously, if 11 frightens you, you can literally roll these into one, bigger size, bigger costs. And same with over here, you can do the same thing to keep that low, to keep the stress low. But I would much rather that return over 6, 8 years than I would waiting 10, 15, 20 years. For me, I've been doing these sorts of projects for 10 years for developers. So you can see why I'm passionate about it and I want to bring this content out to the world. Because I feel like no one's talking about it, no one's sort of showing you how it works, but this is my sort of blueprint, and I think this is what makes sense to me. Because even if I had 6% returns on this equity over 6 years, it's not going to be giving me the income I need, which is 390 grand per year. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Happy to answer questions, and I have no doubt that there will be a 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 on this topic. But for me, this is the development blueprint to get you from 0 to at least after 2 years, $2 million. $2 million after 3 years. And if you're patient, 6 years, 400 grand in passive income. As always, thoughts, feelings, emotions, let me know, and I'll see you tomorrow.